Well, mandated indoors time has seriously upped the amount of time for gaming I've had recently, and to help stave off the boredom, my girlfriend and I have turned to some co-op gaming. Lara Croft and the Guardian of Light immediately went on my radar. You may have heard of it due to its sequel, Lara Croft and the Temple of Osiris, being one of the games given away for free on Steam recently. I'm playing Guardian of Light for now though because not only is it the first game, it's also designed around being a 2-player co-op experience. The big selling point of its sequel is that it's catered to 4 players, which sounds like a lot of fun, I just don't have the bodies right now. Maybe one day. Until then, let's talk about the Guardian of Light. For whatever reason, Lara Croft and the Guardian of Light has always stuck out to me. Despite never playing it, I've always equated this game as being one of the earliest in a long line of digital-only games. It feels weird saying that now. Almost a decade later, digital distribution is the norm, but Guardian of Light's 2010 launch makes it among one of the first times a big brand household name, like Lara Croft, ventured into a budget release. And budget really does feel like the right word. Guardian of Light is in that sort of Xbox Live arcade tier of gaming, whose peers nowadays have been completely gobbled up by Steam. But the point still stands. You get what you pay for, which is not to say that Lara Croft and the Guardian of Light is a cheap or bad game, only that it's a small game. A bite-sized chunk of a game that's narrow in scope and short in length. Playing through the entirety of Lara Croft's campaign clocked us in at about 5.5 hours, and that's even with us getting stuck for a disproportionately long amount of time on some puzzles. The lack of Tomb Raider branding in the name probably gave it away, but this isn't a conventional Tomb Raider game. Third-person action adventure is ditched for isometric twin-stick shooting and puzzle solving, and it's actually pretty good. An ancient evil has been awoken. A vengeful Aztec god rises from his tomb and will destroy the world should he not be stopped before sunrise. Thankfully, the titular Guardian of Light and nemesis to this god, Totek, has risen as well. Totek and Lara are partners in this cooperative journey to stop evil, and their differences inform a large chunk of how the game plays out. Totek is more of a conventional warrior. He has a shield that he can use to deflect incoming projectiles, or have Lara stand on top of it to vault to higher places. His signature weapon is a spear that can be launched at foes. Lara is more nimble. She has a grappling hook that can lock onto fixed points so that she can swing around, or she can use Totek as a grapple point if he positions correctly. She's also light enough to stand on the spears that Totek has lodged into terrain. The asymmetry of each player's mechanics give you different tools that need to be considered to solve every puzzle. Puzzles feel like the primary focus of Guardian of Light, and they're a real standout too. Most of them require you to think 3-dimensionally. When you're brought into a puzzle room, it's immediately obvious what your objective is. Usually it's an item or relic that's right in plain sight, just locked behind a doorway or gate. Accessing this treasure will demand you play as a unit with your partner, standing on switches at the right time, using your grapple point to create walkways, stuff like that. The developers extracted a lot of value out of your small set of tools. Though Guardian of Light features lots of new weapons and unlocks that happen over the course of the story, none of them actually impact the puzzle solving in any way, with the exception of maybe the grenade launcher. Despite that, it manages to escalate the difficulty of these puzzles incredibly well, all while keeping the overall complexity low due to the fact that your puzzle solving arsenal stays very small. It's able to do this because of its relatively realistic approach to physics. Yeah, you can keep pushing this ball around to keep it moving, but an object in motion will stay in motion. You can let go of that ball and it will continue to move until friction stops it. Or you can place a bomb underneath it to launch it forward or straight up into the air. It all feels really good, and its emphasis on physics in the puzzles helps prevent them from becoming too video gamey. The realistic rules that they play by ensure that a gamer and non-gamer alike can both look at a puzzle and identify solutions, and that's of vital importance if you plan on enjoying this game with a partner. The only problem I had with the puzzles is that occasionally they can be cheesed too easily. Sometimes puzzles will be about getting both players to the other side of a dangerous chasm. Maybe one player will have gotten to the right area and is helping their partner get to the other side too. On more than one occasion, we'd have one player die and, due to the generous respawns, resurrect on the side of the chasm they were attempting to traverse to, making it there without needing to solve whatever puzzle was preventing them from getting there. This same effect can happen if one player triggers a cutscene or a transition to the next room. None of it felt intentional, and the few times that it happened caused us to mistakenly skip over the part of the game we were having the most fun with. Helping to prop up its puzzle solving are the two other gameplay aspects that make up the levels in Guardian of Light: Twinstick Shooting and platforming. The Twinstick Shooting is enjoyable, if a bit basic. You can equip up to 4 weapons at a time, and there are dozens of weapons in the game to pick from. All weapons pull from a shared ammo pool, with stronger weapons eating up more ammo. This helps ensure that even weaker weapons have their place in your late game arsenal, as they won't be as demanding to use. Playing with a controller allows for generous lock-on as you shoot, freeing you up to focus less on the pinpoint accuracy of your shots and more on your positioning and mobility during combat. It's serviceable combat, with the most fun more so being derived from the encounters themselves rather than the actual shooting. Bringing up the rear is the platforming, which is inoffensive, bordering on annoying depending on the level. Its biggest problems are that both Lara and Totek jump at fixed distances, and the isometric viewpoint can make it really hard to gauge the depth of the platform that you want to jump to. Put both of these problems together and it can sometimes be really tough to make certain jumps. Forgiving respawns ensure that missing a jump will almost always just be a minor annoyance as opposed to a frustrating pace breaker, but that's about all I can say about it. The platforming alone will definitely not be what keeps you playing this game till the end. The puzzles will. Some of my favorite moments in the Guardian of Light are when it blends all 3 of its gameplay styles. One late game encounter called the Belly of the Beast really stands out. It's unique in that the entirety of the level is a single fight with a dinosaur. It takes place on a large platform, with an unlimited ammo reserve sitting on a lowered base in the middle. Making this ammo accessible requires one player to stand on a switch, while the other traverses onto the bridge and grabs it, all the while trying to fight off the dinosaur and all the minions that the room constantly gets inundated with. This fight felt great because the game was really firing on all cylinders. It's long enough to allow you to flex your twin-stick shooting muscles, you have to constantly circle around the room to ensure you stay safe, you need to dodge the bullet hell of fireballs being breathed on you, all the while alternating roles with your partner to ensure that each of you can stay stocked up on enough ammo to take your enemies down. All of the game's mechanics come together and elevate themselves to a higher level here. It's just such a shame that looking back, there really isn't anything else quite like that level. So, what if you don't have a friend to help you out? If you play solo, Guardian of the Light changes dramatically. Totek is no longer a persistent partner, but instead an inconsistent side character. He gives you his spear in the first level, allowing Lara to solve both halves of any given puzzle. Any challenge that would have been impossible without a second player gets modified in some way. Usually extra objects that can stay on switches will get added to the encounter that more or less take the role of a second player. It's definitely not the way the game was meant to be experienced. You'd be robbing yourself of the achievement of overcoming this challenge with a partner. The game even supports Steam's Remote Play Together feature, so that partner doesn't even need to be local. Lara Croft and the Guardian of Light is a simple game. Its roots of launching as a budget, digital exclusive game inform us a lot of its characteristics. It doesn't shoot for the moon. It's only a few hours long, and it's incredibly easy to pick up and play. Its platforming is acceptable, the combat is good, but its puzzles are great. The package overall is enjoyable fun, and like all things, it's better with a friend.